evening, everybody. Thank you for coming for David's farewell. There was times that I didn't think David was going to make it. But we're very proud of him. David's had a distinguished career here. If he wasn't retiring this early, I'm sure he would have retired at a higher rank than sergeant. He's an outstanding individual, very intelligent, has worked hard here. I went through his file, as I do for all the officers before they retire, just to go through them and see what's in them, and many letters of recommendation that they've had. And there's one in particular that I wanted to share with you because I feel that this really typifies David. Dear Officer Sussman, thank you so much for bringing such caring and compassion to rescue the 8 newborn ducklings on such You never even hesitated about lifting that 600-pound weight. 600 pounds. Even though you could have hurt yourself. I think you did. I don't think you know how very grateful we are to you and the animal control officers. I wrote to the police department about you, but I wanted to thank you specifically with a note. I feel so very fortunate to live in a town with a police department that has someone as special as you on the force. Thank you. P.S. All 8 ducklings are fine as of this morning when I saw them at the lake. This is Dave Sussman. Caring, compassionate. I'm saddened that he's going to be leaving us. I had hoped he'd be around at least until I retired. You know, when people who came on 8 years after you retired, you know, maybe you look at yourself as getting old, but we will miss David. And I also have his picture when he started the police department. He's aged a little bit, but he's aged well. He still has
the same size.
So that's all I have to say. I'll turn it over to the PBA delegate, Steve Klusak. Steve.
How's everyone this evening? Those who don't know me, my name is Steve Klusak. I'm the state delegate for Local 71. I wrote this on a piece of paper so Dave wouldn't be mad at me. I used a little bit of ink because I know how OCD he is about, you know, saving the environment and turning off cars, light switches. And I think actually that's what got him in trouble some years back with the light switches and his brief bout with narcolepsy. But anyway, for those who don't know, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot all about it. Hold on. Leroy, can you open the door? I have to introduce a guest speaker. Open the door, please. Joe Russell, please walk inside. Joe. Joe. In all seriousness, Dave, I'm going to remember days that one night, Long Branch from a Mets game. We got all stuck up in Long Branch with the train. Rob Smith, you were there. And, well, we did. We very much did, yes. But Dave, I want to give you your silver life card and pin. And I want to wish you well in all your endeavors.
Hello everyone, I'm Captain Tom Langenberger. It's like the Chief and Steve said, it's sad to see Dave go. He's been a great officer here, achieved the rank of Sergeant. He's been many years here, and we really are proud of him. I do have a couple stories that I could tell about Dave, but most of them you guys are too young for. But one story I have that I always found most of Dave has heard this 1,000 times. When I first got on the job, Dave had been here for a few years, and we busted each other's chops here and there. So one day I told him, I said, Dave, you know, I'm thinking about start working out. How many years have you been working out? He says, I've been working out for 12 years. And I said, you know, that's all I'm going to get after 12 years? I'm not going to count. So, as you see, I stuck in the comments. plan to uphold your tradition of turning off the bathroom light. I won't say any nothing, but I will uphold that tradition. We do have a shadow box to present to him for his honorable discharge. This shadow box here states honorable discharge presented to Sergeant David Sussman in appreciation for your service and dedication to the Lakewood Police Department, August 26, 1988 to December 1st, 2013. Congratulations. He was dressed in his khaki-colored uniform. That is the uniform that he wore at the police academy 25 years ago. So he still fits in it.
Right.
And as the chief said, one of the few guys that are still on the job that can still fit. So, with that said, Dave, congratulations. I do have one thing before he steps up to the podium. I want to make sure you can all see Dave. So.
I'll keep this brief. This is class participation, so if you know the words, sing along, dance in the aisles, whatever you'd like to do. I'd like to start by thanking my parents for coming in from California, and yes, their arms are tired. I'd like to thank my sons, Dean and Ben, for being here, my girlfriend, Chris, my daughter, Carson, my parents, Joe and Gail. You know, I made fun of Brian Puglisi because he cried throughout his entire ceremony. I swore I wouldn't, so I'm going to do my best not to. Thank you all for showing your support for me and for the police department in general. Before I go any further, though, I'd like to take a moment to remember some of LPD's officers that, due to injury or illness or evil, were not able to make it. There it goes. To the end of their 25-year careers. Badge 183, Butch Curl, who succumbed to cancer. After we lost him, there was rarely a day that I didn't think of him. Steve Nickens, badge 157, cancer. Taken too soon, but he has left us his son, badge 318. Lenny Bostic, badge 188, heart attack. Lenny was a kind and gentle soul who partnered with the last K-9 this department had. Badge 289, John Wilson, who came back from being hit by a car only to suffer a career-ending gunshot while leading the entry team through the door for a drug and gun warrant. The toughest guy I've ever met. Badge 246, Lenny Nieves Sr., and badge 297, Jason DeFoot, both of whom suffered injuries from the same entry team job as John. Badge 240, Jim Vandersover, who followed in his father's footsteps by being one of the most motivated street cops I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Jim had his career shortened by poorly treated injury. Badge 271, William Michi Pressler. .270, I'm sorry. Taken from his family and friends due to a car accident. Lastly, and most recently, badge 317, Chris Matlos, who was assassinated while doing a standard check of an average Lakewood neighborhood. More important than the reasons their careers ended is how they lived their lives, and I am proud to have worked with every one of them. Now, who exactly is Dave Sussman? Well, I like to think of myself as sort of an authority on Dave, since I've known him almost my whole life. According to the UrbanDictionary.com, Dave is the coolest person in the group. He's the model of perfect. No man can come close to the glory that is Dave. It goes on to say that Dave is amazing and has the most friends ever. Dave is not a salmon. I mean, I don't understand that part. Because I believe in the adage, you are what you eat. And thanks to Shuey Bosch, the Hampshire Bakery on 2nd Street, I've eaten a lot of salmon. Thank you, Shuey. He's here. I digress. My family moved to Lakewood when I was 5. I attended K-4 at Spruce Street School. 5th grade, I experienced Princeton Avenue School and its playground, or as I call it, the beach, in Lord of the Flies. The middle school was my home for 6th, 7th, and 8th, and it was there that I corrected my history teacher and told her that she had been saying Pacific, but I was sure that she meant specific. This exemplifies 2 things. Number 1, my love and understanding of the English language, and B, my fearlessness in trying to help someone in authority do the right thing. The second one is a trait I got from my father. It never helped either one of us in our careers. If you don't know my dad, he's the old guy sitting up front who will almost certainly yell out something inappropriate. One of the reasons we moved from the woods of Howell to Lakewood is because my dad had worked very hard for many hours each day in New York. And he sometimes would fall asleep on the bus ride home and wake up at the end of the line. Lakewood. Yep, we moved here in 1969 to spare my dad the embarrassment and time of getting on another bus to go 5 miles north. But I digress again. In Lakewood High School, I excelled in the sport that is naturally taken up by most skinny white kids who are not athletic enough for the usual sports, bowling. It was during this time that I solidified my friendship with Kenny Work. I still remember talking to Kenny in Ocean Lanes one night a few years after high school. He was a rookie at LPD, and he pointed out one of his coworkers who happened to be on his bowling team. The guy was making a mockery of the sport. He was loud and demonstrative, wearing Dwayne Wayne flip-up glasses, and using words I've never heard before. It was the first time I met Willie Clark. We love you, Willie. Lieutenant Joe Gertz, Patrolman Rob Meyer, and Captain Greg Meyer were also guys I bowled with in high school. Greg wasn't very good. And when I pointed it out to him, he broke into like a chant, and he said, "That's all right, that's okay, you're going to work for me someday." He was right. I won a speech writing competition and had the honor of speaking at high school graduation. In my speech, I talked about appreciating the fact that I didn't grow up in Howell or Brick or one of the other racially homogenous towns in the area. Learning to coexist with people of all races and religions was important to me. I went on to graduate OCC and then Arizona State University, and people ask why I returned to New Jersey. And although there are a few reasons, one big one was Arizona's lack of diversity. A few months after I started at ASU, Arizona's newly elected governor, Evan Meekum, made his first order of business the proclamation that Arizona would not observe Martin Luther King's birthday as a holiday. I knew then that Arizona was not the state for a moderate Jewish kid from New Jersey. While finishing up my business degree, I decided that I didn't want to go into business anymore. I had taken a law enforcement class as an elective, and that, along with my respect for police officers, it made me change career paths. I came home and announced that I was going to become a police officer, and my mom said, "What? Oh, no, you're not!" I took every test I could find, and I took a job at IBM in the meantime. As luck would have it, I scored #1 on Lakewood's written test. Civil service still gave an actual physical test back then, and I passed it. They had suspicions at the psychological, but couldn't prove anything. And I somehow squeaked past the background check. I got hired along with Steve Bigman and Brian Puglisi, both of whom had dads who had served with the LPD. I quickly established that I was the one to watch, or the one with a watch. When we were in the old indoor range downstairs, before we started the academy, and I pointed out to Sergeant Lawson that we were supposed to work until 5, and it was, almost nearly that time. I got called into a deputy chief's office, and that marked the first time I was told that my career was tenuous at best. If someone started a pool to bet on which one of the 3 new hires would be the last one here after 25 plus years, I don't think I'd have been the one people bet on. I have many people to thank for helping me over the years, and some just for being good guys to work with. The aforementioned Kenny Work was like a brother to me. Willie Clark, who was a very loyal friend and a constant source of amusement. Mike McGowan, who kept every day interesting. I have to thank Bob Perfilio. I'm glad to see you here, Bob. Thank you so much for showing up. I have to thank Bob Perfilio, badge 160, for being a great training officer and for bringing me to Attilio's Pizzeria in the Top Plaza on Route 9 North, where I met and befriended the 2 young men, Louie and Tony, who took over the business after their dad passed away. This is the second shout out I've given to a Lakewood eatery, so while I'm at it, let me also thank Mark Goodman of Goodman's Health Foods at 3rd and Clifton. Moish from Pizza Plus on 4th Street, Try the Sushi, and Dove and the guys from the Bagel Nosh. Without the kindness and generosity of these businesses, I would be much skinnier and much poorer. But I digress. While here, I was able to create a community service program that saw coordination between DPW, the police department, and the court. I coordinated with the state to run roadside mobile inspection operations and a few taxi inspection days. I led a charge that almost single-handedly was responsible for getting the state to close the loophole that allowed many unqualified cars to skip inspection with a special designated sticker. I've written numerous safety articles for a local direct mailer and also reached out to the community via the Lakewood Scoop. I've run in the torch run to raise money for the Special Olympics, and this coming May, I will ride for the 7th year in a row to Washington, D.C. in the Police Unity Tour to honor officers all over the country who died on duty. I was also told by John Mel, who's big and scary, that I should thank him. You are my idol, John.
That's what I wanted to say, Dave.
Thank you for being here. She's not afraid. I even got to challenge myself last year on a 2-day, 168-mile mountainous bike ride to raise money for High Lifeline's Camp Simcoe. But whatever I accomplished or was able to do, it was no better than what many of the men and women in this department do every day. They are the ones who do CPR on a lifeless 4-month-old. They are the ones who wade into the lake in uniform to save a drunk who's in the midst of trying to drown themselves. They are the ones who try to find the words to tell someone that their loved one has died. They are the ones who are given deadly weapons but expected to never use them. They are humans given jobs for superheroes and expected to perform them humanely but robotically. They are the ones who, after directing traffic for an hour due to a fatal accident, are expected to keep their cool when someone doesn't understand what cones and a police car and a road closed sign means. My time here at the Lakewood Police Department has come to a close. It hasn't always been easy, but it has been my pleasure to serve my community. I'm happy to have been promoted a year and a half ago, and I can say my days got much easier with the retirements of some of my old bosses. But I do have faith in the current captains and lieutenants who will lead this department for years in the future. I ask the citizens of Lakewood to appreciate the service they receive, because I believe this is the best, most caring department you could ever hope for. I leave you with a few thoughts. Number one, every day is Earth Day. Shut the light when you leave the room. If you're not in the car anymore, turn it off. I don't care if you're only running in to go to the bathroom. Number two, always wear sunscreen. That's kind of self-explanatory. And see... Thank you very much. We're going to be convening at Charlie Brown's on Route 70 for a little food and chatter. More than happy to see everybody out there.
Hold
Thank
on,
you very
Dave, I
much.
don't think you know that. Anybody that would like to come up and talk about Vero? Anybody? Line them up, come on.
You got a song? You got a song? No, that was just for my
Somebody stop him.
I just want to say I'm really disappointed that my friend Sarah Ricardo couldn't be here today.
It's an inside joke. Sure. Shuey Bosch from the Hamish Baker.
I thought this day would never come. Because I knew Dave was not going to just retire as a regular patrolman. And being number 3 on the list for like 20 years, you know, I thought it was never going to happen.
I made it.
You made it.
Chewy, now your profits are going to go up.
Hi, my name is Bob Rosendoff. I have a few important things to say about David that you probably don't know. Number one, he wasn't always a very handsome guy who she stands. In fact, when David was born in the delivery room, the nurse diaped his face. When he was 4 years old, his parents took him to the Bronx Zoo. The people at the zoo thanked them for returning him. When he was 18, he turned to his father and said, "Papa, I'd like to go to college," and his father said, "That's nice, but first, Mama and I want you to finish grade school." He's a very, very special human being, special to me.
Anybody else? There's got to be more in the audience. No? All right, we'll save it for later. David, on behalf of the police department, Chief Lawson, the Township of Lakewood, thank you very much.